genset. These are gensets. Those are motor generators that are slung underneath. That you can see those white boxes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Those are so that they
Those
could
power the reefers.
Yeah, exactly. For reefers, and they power it so they can go over the road or on a train. So this is the way we bring in the containers. Like I said, they could be either an export load, they could be an empty, or they could be here to pick up an import load or an empty.
Yes.
And then these guys over here got a problem, or they need to go to the restroom or call their dispatcher for whatever reason. So this is kind of a holding area for someone with a problem or just wants to stop. And maybe he doesn't have a problem. He wants to stop and call his dispatcher. You can find out his next assignment if he doesn't have a cell phone.
Who's the largest importer, exporter? China Shipping, Costco?
No, they're not that big. They're all in group. Now, nobody has more than about I want to say 6 or 7% share, maybe a little bit bigger.
Oh, okay. But they,
much. China Shipping's gone.
or at Costco, they've been absorbed by Costco.
Yeah. What happened there? So these guys go out, and if they're next, if they look at this guy in front of us, can you tell if he's just like he's an empty?
Oh, because the seals.
I don't see a seal.
Yes.
Let's go this way.
These are all reefers.
These are all reefers.
Yes.
These are all empty reefers.
Oh, I see.
If they were loaded, they'd be under power in those racks back there where the plugs were. That's one of our maintenance shops there. We have 2 separate maintenance shops. This is one. Remember, this used to be 2 separate terminals that we combined. So we got like 2 of everything here.
Yes. Now, China Shipping doesn't do a lot of shipping up here. They do more in Long Beach, right? Or
no,
Costco, right?
No. It's they all do about the same. It's just that LA Long Beach is so much bigger. It's 5 times bigger than here, at least.
Oh, okay. Yangming is another Chinese company.
Yes, that's
Taiwan.
Taiwanese.
Taiwanese. Oh, okay. And Evergreen's Taiwanese.
Taiwanese.
Wanhai.
Nice Taiwanese.
Yeah, do you see Costco? And,
Costco is National Chinese, and China Shipping was, and there was another one that was here for a while and didn't last very long.
Yes.
So they come out to these rows, and these rows are all. Now these guys are all waiting to get their container taken off,
Oh,
and they're gonna go.
they're exporting these guys.
Well, they could. Yeah. See, we use those machines there. They're called top handlers.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
They don't tip over.
No. Well, they could. They have.
They have. Oh, okay.
Yeah. You can see there's one down there.
Oh, yes.
Handling a container.
These are export rolls.
Could be. Yeah. Most probably. And although this one is, see, wherever there's an RTG or one of these rubber tire gantry cranes, then those are imports.
Oh, okay.
So there is an import row out here. This is an import row.
Oh, okay. I see the ZPMC cranes.
All of these are ZPMC cranes. Every crane here.
And then C.
We were ZPMC's first customer in the U.S.
Oh, wow.
We bought their first container cranes. They've given us, we have like a most favored nation arrangement with them because they appreciated that we were the first customer, so we always get the best pricing.
Nice.
Yeah. And they were good people. I knew Mr. Gao, who was the first president of ZPMC.
Yes.
He was really a great man. It's too bad he had to retire. They made him retire because when you get 60, I forget how old he got.
65?
In fact, he went farther than normal because he was doing such an important thing. But you can see how big these ships are. We got 4 ships on berth here now. 4 of them working simultaneously.
So where are these ships? Like, that's from Greece or?
No. This one is from the Far East. This probably came from Shanghai or maybe somewhere in China. Actually, it came from Long Beach.
Oh.
But before that, it was. It's not working. I don't know whether it's either just finished or it's going to work tonight. Maybe.
Yeah.
Probably it's finishing.
What time does the port close?
Sorry?
What time does port close?
It doesn't.
Oh, it doesn't close. It's
No,
24 hours.
just a matter of when we keep our gates open, how long we keep our gates open.
I see. Wow, look at that. Let's see it working right now.
Yeah.
That's pretty
This
fast.
is a tiny ship here. This
Mhm.
this one goes down to the obviously Polynesian Islands.
Oh.
I gotta be careful. I don't want to go underneath the crane because they could actually bring a container all the way back here and set it down this far back.
Oh, I see. Wow. These move by laterally.
Yeah,
Wow.
they're on railroad tracks. You see the rail tires, the wheels that have,
Uh-huh.
and they can that's called traveling. They travel back and forth on
I see.
on here, and then when they go when the beam goes out over the ship, that's called gantry.
I see.
So they gantry and they travel. They,
There goes a Costco ship.
yeah.
So these are going to China.
Yes.
They're
They leave
exporting.
here and they'll go to China. So they're loading now. See, they're just finishing. They're finishing up the ship.
They load them really fast. I'm
Yeah.
very surprised. And they're
But-
pretty secure.
Less than 2 minutes per move. If you want to
Wow.
watch, you can see it. It'll be how
Oh,
long it takes them.
it's amazing. They're
Yeah,
pretty
there's a-
secure once they lock them.
They're about a 1/16 of an inch. Metal on metal. 1/16 of an inch. That's it.
That's pretty precise.
Not much. I mean, it's not much that lift that thing.
Yes.
You can see the LED signs. It'll tell you if you look at it what he's doing. That one doesn't say
Uh-huh.
anything on that one, but because he's empty.
I
But
see.
they have a computer screen inside their cab. It tells them what to do next or where to go.
Yes.
And then what's up on the LED sign on the top of the cab is kind of an abbreviation of what that work assignment is. He's going to load that CMA can now. I guess. No, he's going to take it's like a flat rack or something.
Oh.
It's an odd piece of equipment.
Yeah. They work by clamping. Wow, that's pretty good.
That's
You have
it.
to be pretty skilled at.
Oh yeah, because he's so high up there. He's in that cab up there underneath the
yes.
rails,
Uh-huh.
and he's got the flippers. You see the flippers that came down?
Yeah, I do see.
Now they're going up.
Yes.
That helps them guide the twist locks. Those are twist locks of the beam onto the corner post.
Oh, okay. Wow. That's pretty
Now
good.
he just floated the load, and that other lockstar over there takes the.
Mhm.
Make sure it's got twist locks on it, so when it goes up on the stack, it'll lock into the container below.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's really amazing. Yeah. Didn't realize how fast the process is. I thought it was very slow, and you have to be very careful.
Yeah, we make money by going as fast. That's what we get paid by the load on the ship. We'll get none of this that goes on in the yard. We get paid for. It's all based on a move here.
Wow.
So the steamship line, they come in and we got to do 1,000 moves. We get paid 1,000 times whatever our rate is, and then everything else that we do is included. It's called a throughput rate. So we have to do an import comes off the ship, and we get paid, let's say $300. I'm giving you a pretty reasonable what a rate is.
Yes.
That $300, we take the container off, we stack it in the yard, then a truck comes in, we transact, give it to the right trucker, and then the empty container comes back. We receive that empty container, put it in a stack, and hold it for the next guy to take it. All of that for the one price. So nothing is a la carte. It's all
$300 just one.
It's all based on one load off the ship, and in the reverse, one load on the ship. See how fast
look
they
how
are.
fast, yeah.
So they're about, I would say the cycle is 2 minutes or less.
Wow. So these guys, they have to be lined up where the guys have.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
there's a signalman on the ground. We also are working on a system where we're using laser beams that they on the ground, so that the truck driver will always be lined up. He just lines himself up using the laser technology.
I see.
And we're using it down in Southern California. I don't think we've installed it here yet.
Oh, okay.
We test everything there. There's a few things we've done here first. It depends on who's anxious to have it done first, and they'll volunteer to test it. But
So this ship was supposed to be very good organizer because there's online.
what's that?
Waiting. The truck, the waiting. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see there these two. Yeah. They have instructions. They have a computer terminal inside their cab, so they get instructions from the system where to go get the export load out of the yard. All the export loads in the yard are in different piles, and those piles, they're not random. They are precise. Each stack, each row is by vessel, voyage, discharge port, size, and weight.
Okay.
So it has 5 parameters. So you can imagine we're doing, there's 4 ships on board that are loading out, and they go to multiple ports in the Far East. And we got to have a stack for each one of those varieties of containers.
I see. These truckers that they're picking off, those are basically the harbor.
These are our yard, we call them bomb carts. There's another one here. You can see they're just really heavy duty, like trays. So it's easy to drop a container in it.
I see.
You don't have to worry about landing. Like, see, here's a chassis. You got these twist locks at the back. They have. If you put a container on there, if a crane driver had to put a container on this chassis,
Yes.
it's much more difficult because they got to line up those corner castings right on those twist locks
I see.
precisely, as opposed to just dropping it in one of these bomb carts. They just drop it in. It's easier to do.
Yes. We're getting up close. These guys get paid pretty well, I get.
Very well. Yeah, we should all be so lucky.
6-figure.
Oh yeah, there goes a hatch cover. You see that crane there's picking up a hatch cover?
Yes. I guess you gotta get certified,
Yeah.
and
That hatch cover weighs 40 tons.
wow.
So that's the vessel operation. Let me go down the other end. I want to give you a perspective of how big the terminal is. There are very few terminals, if any, that I know of that actually have 5 berths like this one. You can see that guy is loading the bomb cart, so he's taking out those containers. That's an export row. So that row is probably going to this ship or one of the ships. But he's pulling them out over there.
Okay.
Just try to keep you in the shade here.
Yeah. They don't have to be as precise laying it down.
Okay, what?
They don't have to be as precise laying it down.
Not on these, not at all.
Yeah.
So he'll go to the ship now, and he goes and just grabs the next one, because they should all in that row. They should all be for the same vessel, same port of discharge, and we have to load the ship so that it's an order of the ports they're going to go to. We don't want to put the first port of call containers at the bottom. So they've got to be. We've got to stow the ship correctly. And when it goes to like 5 or 6 different ports in the Far East, and it goes to Long Beach first, and Long Beach has export loads for it, and we got discharge for Oakland. They can't cover up the Oakland discharge either, so it's not that easy to stow a vessel. And I see this is not. Oh, there he is. There's the trucker was waiting right back there. He waits for the driver to pull the load back and then pulls forward.
Oh, I see. Yes. How long does it take to load an entire ship?
Depends on the move. We do 30 an hour per crane. So we want to do it as expeditiously as possible. We're not using all. You can tell we're not using all the cranes because there wasn't probably that many moves. If we can do 500-600 moves with 2 cranes,
Yes.
and that's all there is. So we'll use 2 cranes for 8 hours and they'll sail it in 8 hours.
In 8 hours. And these ships will hold about 500 containers.
No. This ship here will hold maybe 8 to 10,000.
Wow.
But Oakland only does 10-20%.
I see.
So that's 800 maybe for Oakland.
I see. Wow.
Maybe 1,000, something like that on average.
Mm.
But this guy needs to go as fast as the other crane, otherwise we'll have a bottleneck.
Mhm.
So you only go as fast as your slowest operator.
Mm.
Sometimes we'll have 2 machines feeding 1 crane. If your crane is fast, then
Yes.
see now I don't know what he's gonna do. He's just went into action. He must be time for him to. There's another one behind me. I don't know what he's doing. Go down here.
What machine is this?
This is an RTG. They're the ones that can shuffle these containers. I was going to show you that next. You can see there was another hatch cover.
Okay, so they basically just cycle.
That's it.
They just go in circles.
Yeah, that's it. That's I showed you how they on the
Yes.
board inside. You
Mhm.
have that cycle going on, and then you got the cycle of the trucks from the street going in and out through the yard, and kind of overlap inside the yard.
Here's San Francisco. This is probably the administrative building.
No, this is. You were in the administrative building. This is just where our vessel planners are,
Oh, okay.
and the superintendents work here.
Mhm.
Maybe this is the crane shop at this end. See, it says crane shop.
Okay.
So the mechanics will have their
Mhm.
workstation in there.
I see.
Keep crane spare parts here.
Yeah.
This extra wire rope. We have to change wire rope
Oh, okay.
very often. You don't
Mhm.
realize it, but
Yeah.
you can see how much wire rope is on
Mhm.
a crane. So you can see how big the terminal is from here. This gives you a good perspective how far
Oh,
down
yeah.
it goes. It's not a small terminal.
No, it's huge.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Go back here and get a better perspective.
It's, here. So how can we improve this, John?
Well, I got to show you a lot more. You need to get, part of it is getting the importers and exporters to change. That's a bigger problem. It's easy to make some changes. I know a lot of great changes that would help,
Yes.
particularly doing something along the lines that you want to do.
Yes.
But the importers are going to come kicking and screaming to do it. You got to get somebody who's willing to really take a chance.
Yeah.
And they all want to control what they think is controlling their own business, and they want to pick their trucking company. They want that relationship that's really tight. To break that bond, that's going to be your biggest hurdle. Not so much figuring out what you need to do; it's more getting those people to realize they don't need to be in such control.
Exactly.
That's
And-
actually causing more of a problem.
See, when we provide them a list of 200,000 truckers that they can ping and grab and dispatch,
Yeah.
they might try it, and it's
Maybe.
gonna work well, and they're gonna. It's just like
Yeah.
Uber, you know, the system's
Yeah.
been there for maybe over 100 years, and
Yeah.
it took someone to come by and take a chance and change it.
Yeah.
So
It did.
yeah.
But like I said, what I'm really grappling with is whether how you deal with the empty return. You may have to uncouple them,
Yes.
and couple them in a different way.
Yes.
Like tell a driver, when you take an export to somebody, you're not responsible to bring the empty back,
Correct.
unless you're that empty. But you may be contracted to bring an empty back on the move out with the export, with the import full.
Yes.
If you follow what I'm saying.
Yes. Can you imagine how efficient that could be?
Oh yeah.
You know, how much gas we can
Sure.
save?
All this, believe it or not, is efficient. Even though they look like they're all lined up, but this is very quick. These are empties coming back, and we use a side handler. It's a little quicker machine. It's not a top handler. It's only got 2 twist locks on the front side,
Yes.
and so it could grab it quicker. You can handle it with just 2 because they're empty. They're only weighing 5 tons or so.
Yes. Now, well, I can see some ideas popping up in my head now.
Good.
I mean, like, you know, imagine just having truck come in and pick up any load and just
Sure.
sending it out without having to go dig for that particular container.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the whole point.
Mm-hmm.
And this area's all been cleaned out, and they're getting it ready for something to go in here.
Yeah. And if we present, I guess the government probably won't get involved, but if we
You know,
present that,
I've been trying like hell. They're so screwed up, frankly, Darren. We've had a lot of great ideas. They've all promised us money for various purposes, but all it seems like they got money for is to hire another consultant, but never for the actual project itself.
yes. Wow, if we present this to the government will even fund us too. I mean,
I don't
well,
know.
you know, we
They might.
already have a commitment for funding ready.
You know, I wouldn't go to the government. You know what happens when the government decides they're going to fund you? What they told me was some people who warned me said, number one, it's like pulling teeth to get them to give you any money because they just can't seem to pull the trigger to do it.
Yes.
Or number two, if they do give you money, they're going to write some kind of regulation that's going to enforce something. They're going to make it more difficult for you in the long run to do what you want to do.
Okay, so it's better just use our private
Better to
money.
use your own money and
Yes.
charge what you want. You know, because someone's going to say, "Hey, didn't you get this funded by the government? Why are you charging me X?" You know, well, I'd rather just handle it myself.
Yes.
I wanted to take you to the RTG rows and watch them. That's the worst part of this whole operation. Is most inefficient.
What is RTG?
Rubber tired gantry, or rubber tired gantry crane. That's those green DPMC straddle machines. You see, they go over the top of a 6-wide row.
These guys are.
These guys are picking up these containers out of this area.
Oh, I see. So these had to be hooked onto the latch.
What's that?
These are being imported out.
Yeah, they're probably imports. They're all they're block stowed like that. That's a good. That's the way we want to do it. What you saw there, where the loads going out, where the top handler was grabbing the top one and putting on the next truck.
Yes.
Those trucks were all the same company, all getting this
Yes.
homogeneous pile, basically, as opposed to these guys. You see, here goes this machine.
Yes.
Now this row is really light, so it's a lot easier and efficient for him to operate. But when he's going, see, they're almost ready to quit for the day. There's no one else coming in. It's 4:16, but no, there's nobody else around. This whole row, this whole, you see how far it goes down?
Yes.
All RTGs. And this row is six wide. Each machine has got 2 drivers, 1 spotter, this guy here, and maybe part of a clerk. And all these containers in here, Someone's going to come in and pick them all up, and they're going to ask for a specific box. Right now, it's not very full,
Yes.
so you don't have to shuffle very much to grab the one they want because it's kind of loose. But imagine this thing being 6 wide and 4 high
Yes.
completely, and you got to start delivering out of it.
Yes.
Okay, there's a guy here.
Oh, okay.
So he's gonna get delivered. Let me pull out of the way.
This is the most inefficient part.
Yeah. Now, why? I don't know which box he's gonna get for that driver. You see the trucker sitting there?
Yes.
The trucker's in the truck lane between the tires and the container rows.
Mm-hmm. How do they keep a track of where all the containers are at? Someone inputs it in the
Yeah,
database?
I didn't explain to you how we do that. When the container comes off the ship, when the container crane is lifting it off the vessel,
Uh-huh.
as it comes down and is placed on the bomb cart,
Yes.
there are OCR cameras on the leg of the cranes
Oh,
that read the container number.
I see.
So now the system knows that the container's coming off the ship. It also on the leg of the crane is an antenna that reads the RFID tag ID number of the tractor that the longshoreman's driving.
Yes.
Then when the crane unlocks the twist locks,
Mm-hmm.
the system transfers that container number to that tractor.
I see.
Then when that tractor comes over here in the yard and the top handler, the other machine, like a forklift with the top pick,
Oh, yeah.
top head, it's got a reader. It reads the tag on the tractor, so
I
it knows
see.
the container. When it locks the twist locks, the system transfers the container number to that machine. Then when that machine goes into this row here
Mm-hmm.
and sets it down and unlocks,
Yeah.
the system knows now that container is in that 3-dimensional spot.
I see.
I say 3-dimensional because it knows where the beam on the top handler is.
Mm-hmm.
It knows that the beam is 1 high, 2 high, 3 high, or 4 high, and it knows where that top handler is in relation to the yard because we got an antenna on it, and on every light pole on the whole terminal, we have readers, so we triangulate where that top handler is.
I see.
So the combination is like a local area network
Yeah.
as opposed to a GPS.
Yeah.
And everywhere, or not a local area, but local area, I'm sorry what it's called, but it's like GPS for a defined area rather than a satellite. We use all these readers on the light poles, and we can triangulate where something is on
I
the
see.
terminal. And we can triangulate exactly where the top handler is, and depending on where the beam is, and when the twist lock's engaged or disengaged, we know exactly where everything is.
I see. And then that goes into the database.
Yeah, every. Now he just moved that. There's also logic in this translator. So every time he moves a container, he just moves that one container from the top up there down to the ground. The system knows when it locked on, where it went, and where it unlocked. So now it knows that container that was there is now down on the ground.
I see.
So he should see how many he said. Now he's got to move.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Maybe this is the right one. Maybe he's got to move this one too. This guy may be in for the one on the very bottom.
Oh, okay.
But anyway,
Yeah.
I don't want to sit here for.
Yeah,
It could take
no.
another 15 minutes. and
Right.
You can see how
No,
efficient it is.
Yeah, no, I understand the process now.
What we rather do is have a machine just grab these just
From the
in
top.
order and give it to the next driver. The driver's got to be willing to say, "Yeah, I'll just give me a box. I'll take it." And when he gets the container, you send him a message on his smartphone saying, "Oh, you got container such and such. That goes to."
Now,
It goes to Fremont or it goes to Richmond.
these sections right here, usually they're containers owned by small businesses, right? They're not
Could be.
like big.
Probably
Walmarts.
it could be or not. If they're big enough, we try to if they have like 40 or 50 containers,
Yes.
like a Walmart would or
Yeah.
Target.
We should stack in
We
one
ask them to
location.
stack them in one, like those guys were doing over there, and send their drivers in all at one time, and we could just peel them off.
Right.
That's exactly right. You can see this is excruciating. I mean, I can't stand watching it.
Yeah.
It just drives me crazy. This is my whole career is what I've been trying to
Fix this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And no matter, we started doing the peel off. That we call that peel off or free flow, is where they come and just take the next box. It's only the very biggest guys. If you get the little guy, I've got several ideas. I wrote a paper on how we were going to do it. I brought it to my boss, and he wouldn't fund it. I'm sure it's driving me crazy. We blow more money on stupid things. But I had 6 methods of delivering cargo I wanted him to build a website that would allow an importer to choose which of the 6 he wanted.
Yes.
And some would require paying money, some didn't. But he'd have a choice, and he could be done by either the importer or the trucking company.
Yes. See, this is where you would be so valuable, John. Like to tell us how you think that's going to work the best, and we can build the system around it.
No problem.
And,
I'll be happy. I'd love to get involved in something like that.
Yeah.
That's what I've been doing a long time.
Yes.
But you can see that this. You see how much space has to be devoted, how much equipment's got to be devoted just for this. So this has 3.5 people on this machine. 3.5 people. And he does 80. If we're lucky, he'll move 80 containers or deliver 80 in an 8-hour shift, 10 an hour.
Wow.
If we're lucky.
Yeah.
Whereas if you do it the other way, the peel off, you've got 1.5 people, and he can do 250 in 8 hours.
Wow.
So it's a multiple of
3,
more than
4.
3,
Yeah.
4, more than 4.
Yes.
Because, well, you figure, let's see, 3.5 men is times 8 is what, 30 man hour, 30, 28. 28 man hours to do 80, so it's about 3 per man hour. You move 3.
Yes.
You can move 3 containers per man hour.
Yes. Amazing.
Yeah.
Port of Long Beach is the biggest port in the world.
No, I don't think so. Not in the world.
What would
Maybe 3rd or 4th.
3rd or 4th? What would be considered the biggest?
Probably Shanghai now.
Shanghai?
Yeah, the Hong Kong was for a long time the biggest. I think now they're 2nd or 3rd.
I see.
There's probably another Chinese port that's 2nd biggest.
Shenzhen or something.
Yeah. They grew so fast that. So 3 containers per man hour this way. And the other way, we deliver 250 with 1.5, so that's 12.
Yes.
So 12 divided by 250 is like a half. No, not even that. A 1/10 of a man hour.
Wow. Yeah.
Is that right? You doing the math? Sam? What is
this empty? This is empty.
What's let's see, 12 divided by 250.
Okay.
Or you would just say 200.
Okay.
12 divided by 200 is 0.6.
12 divided by 200?
Yeah,
Yeah,
12,
0.06.
yeah, 0.06.
0.06.
Say a 1/10 of a man hour. A 1/10 of a man hour versus a 1/3 of a man hour.
Yes.
Um,
That's a significant.
yeah.
Yeah. So the rest of the world basically operates pretty much the same
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
And who came up with this system?
Gosh, I don't know. You mean containerization?
Yes.
Oh, it's been generally attributed to a guy by the name of Malcolm McLean in the late 50s, very early 60s.
It's very old technology.
Yeah.
Yes.
He invented basically the container and the intermodal box. There's a book out called The Box. You should read. It's all about that.
Yes.
But it was various sizes. At one time, they were only 20. Then Matson for a long time in Sealand were using 24-foot boxes. I remember in the 60s, mid 60s, they were all 24-foot boxes. During the Vietnam War, when Sealand did most of the transportation for the government, they were 24-foot boxes.
Oh.
Now they're obsolete.
Yes. You know, they should make them all maybe like 54 or some 53 or
Well,
something like that.
they are making 53s, but only for the railroad. They're all domestic,
Okay.
and they don't make them 53s for the ships.
Yeah, that's.
And I got a feeling it might be because of maybe roadway restrictions in other parts of the world, but I'm not sure.
I see.
But no ship yet carries
Mhm.
53s as a general practice. They only carry 53s
Yes.
as cargo when they're manufactured in China now,
I see.
and they're being purchased by the railroads or by some trucking companies that use them.
Yes.
Then they're imported on a ship, but only, like I said, as cargo.
Mhm.
You can see all these bays are all designed for 20 and 40.
Yeah.
To put a 53 there is not easy.
It's not gonna fit. Yeah.
It screws everything up.
They'll need to like design new ships to be able to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly
And
right.
they don't make these ships like a lot. They don't make a lot of these ships.
Yeah, they do it all the time.
Oh, they do.
They're making them bigger and bigger. That's what got all these steamship lines in trouble. You know, like Hanjin that just went broke, and the three Japanese carriers just announced a complete merger just over the weekend.
Wow.
So all three Japanese
Yeah, I heard the news
are
yesterday.
all are going to merge.
Merged
They're-
together.
How did Hanjin go
They have
bankrupt?
bankrupt? Or
Yeah, right
Because-
now the
because
freight
they're-
rate.
Inefficiency?
No,
No, that's
they're no more inefficient than the other carrier.
Mm.
They really aren't. It's a matter of they were building bigger ships. They were all in a big hurry to build bigger ships so that they can reduce the slot cost on the ocean travel. So in other words, the crews are not much different in size, and the fuel is not incremental fuel. To move 10,000 versus 8,000 containers is not that much more, and the engines become more efficient too. So the bigger they built the ship, the cost per slot
I see.
was continued to decline,
Yes.
and they were all in a race to the bottom to build the biggest ships to reduce that cost. At the same time, though, these ships getting built so rapidly, they led to overcapacity, and the rates dropped dramatically
Yeah,
because they had to discount the rates so much in order to fill it. It didn't do any good to have a low slot cost unless you filled the ship.
Yes.
Otherwise, your slot cost was higher based on the utilization rate. So they all had to fill the ship. In order to fill the ship, they had to drop the
Discount.
rate, and they dropped the rate. Got so low,
You cannot cover the
they couldn't
cost.
cover any of the costs, no matter how low your cost was. Give you an example. I was talking this a couple of months ago to scrap metal exporters. The people that demolish cars and they shred the metal up in pieces and put it in the containers. Their rate was $90 to $99 a TEU.
Wow.
They're losing money on every one because we charge $300. Any stevedore we get between between $2.50 and $3.25. It depends on what various factors, but if they're only collecting even a 40, so they were getting $200 for a 40. It's crazy.
There's a
The 200 is better than nothing, so they were taking the 200, but they were losing, not making any money. Eventually, you can't. That's not sustainable long term.
You know, when we shipped over some stuff for my mother-in-law in Korea, like they had these brokers that basically charged us like, how much was it? $2,500 for a full container, and they probably got it for that's $50, $500.
Could be. Yeah, they may have some costs, so they got to
Mark up
they got to load it and unload it, so they got some labor to do that.
I see.
And they got to pay customs duties or whatever. They got to pay the trucking to get it done. The trucking costs more than the ocean freight.
Oh,
It could easily.
Wow.
You know, for a 20-footer, they told me it was $90 some. Well, it probably cost $200 or $300 to bring it in. It cost $500 to bring it in from Stockton, which is likely. If a container comes from Stockton, it's $500.
Yes.
Well, you pay $500 to truck it over here, then you pay the ocean carrier $200
Yeah.
to send it to the Far East.
That's $700 at least, right? Plus,
Yeah, but I'm saying is, look at the difference.
yes.
You know, 100 miles. What is not even 100 miles? What is it? 50 miles.
Yeah.
50 miles cost 500, and then 5,000 costs 200.
That's because the ships work in volume, and the trucks like they only
It was one.
one.
You're right.
If you can
Do it
stack
like
10
that.
containers, then
Yeah,
that's a
yeah,
different story.
well, there you go. That's
Yeah.
true. I'm just kind of wandering around now. This is all our equipment.
Mhm.
Most of it's out because it's all working the ships right now, but they're all getting ready to knock off slowly.
What are these things called again?
Top handler
Top handle.
or top pick. We also call them top
Oh,
pick. These are called yard tractors or hustlers.
Okay.
And these are bomb carts,
Mhm.
nickname, or yard chassis too. Well, I don't know what else to show you. For the first go around, I don't want to get too much. The next time is maybe take you into the offices where they talk to the truckers, where the clerk talks to the trucker, and
Okay.
see how that transaction is done,
Uh-huh.
and have you talk to. Hey, bud, good. How are you?
Good to see you.
What are you doing for Thanksgiving?
I'm going home. I'm going down south.
Oh, this is Darren.
Hello.
Aaron, how are you?
Good.
I'm Adam.
Adam.
Adam, nice to meet
One
you.
of the managers
Hi,
here.
Yeah.
Sam.
Hey, Adam.
Sam.
How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Good. You guys getting a little tour today?
Yeah.
Yes.
When I'm not here, they may want to come back for a tour. Can I call you?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
anytime.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Adam.
Yeah,
Yes.
we'll take care of you.
Yeah. I want them to see. We just gave a general overview today, but I'd like them to see the gatehouse where the
Okay.
clerks are do the
Yeah.
transactions next, and maybe what else? I don't know. Who's here from Tideworks?
John Cadigan
Okay.
I'm trying to think what would be
or
good.
Sandy.
They're more interested in truck delivery,
Okay.
and truck processing,
Yeah.
as opposed to
Definitely.
vessel work.
Okay.
The vessel's not that really a big deal, but it could be down the road.
I have a pretty good working knowledge because I work with
Yeah.
the Tideworks guys and
Yeah.
a lot, so I know most of the systems.
Oh,
Adam will
perfect.
tell you
Okay.
everything.
Yeah, that'll be great if we can
You
use
have
this
a
as
card.
a
Do
resource.
you have a card?
Do you have a card, Sam?
Here you go.
Um,
No.
Oh, perfect. All right, thank you, Adam.
Yeah.
We will send you ours.
And you guys are with who?
Well, we're with Beeline Technology.
Okay.
We're
Startup.
startup.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Free flow.
Software engineers.
I like that.
See, I told
Know
you.
everything.
That's
Thank
it.
you.
They're going to try to do something I could never convince Canoe to do.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Good deal. I'll
Great.
see you.
Thank you, Adam. Yeah. What do you think of when you think of Beeline?
Beeline?
Point A,
I
point B.
looked you up. You're not on the internet. I couldn't find you anywhere. I found some VMS company that's on there, and but I can't find.
Yes. Not yet.
No.
But it's the whole reasoning for the name is efficiency
Yeah.
from point A to point B. What's
No,
the fastest?
but someone's already got that name.
Oh, okay. For in
Beeline
trucking?
Technology. It could be. When I first saw it,
Uh-huh.
I thought maybe that was you. It didn't quite look right. It looked too big,
Oh, okay.
based
yeah.
on what
There
you
was
told
a-
me what stage you guys were at.
Mhm.
But they handled like staffing
Mhm.
and more efficient use of non-standard labor, and if you're on next on the internet, but it's Beeline Technology.
I see.
Just like
Yeah,
that.
ours is Beeline Technology Group, and
Technology Group.
yes.
Oh, I didn't put group in. Maybe maybe that's the difference.
And there was a company in Australia, but they went out of business. They did GPS.
I saw that one too.